Hey guys, it's Blake here at Wrestling Reaction, and yes, we are talking about what everyone else is talking about in the world of professional wrestling. The Rock has returned, and he made his appearance on Monday Night Raw, the Day One edition of Monday Night Raw, and he's back. And all it took was 4 words for The Rock to set the wrestling world ablaze as he asked the question, should he sit at the head of the table? And now that has opened up a lot of discussion surrounding what is next for The Rock, especially after mentioning those 4 words. The first time we've actually seen an official tease for a match between The Rock and Roman Reigns, and everyone speculating that that match could happen at WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia. Will it happen there? What are the options that are on the table, so to speak, for The Rock at WrestleMania 40? We talk about it here on Wrestling Reaction as we look at the 3 potential options for The Rock. All right, so let's start with option 1, right? Because this is the clearest one, which is The Rock is going to challenge Roman Reigns for the championship at WrestleMania 40. Because again, if you have The Rock available, The Rock says those words on Raw. There's a reason for all of that. There's a reason for the entire promo. If you're going to say all of that, if you're going to do the tease, you're doing it with the intention that you're going to do the match. And it could just be as simple as that. Day one, you start the new year. The road to WrestleMania officially begins. You're in the year that the WrestleMania will take place, and you are setting up The Rock to take on Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40. Maybe it's that simple. Maybe that's all that WWE has done here is made it as simple as possible to say this is the match. Now, of course, there's some complications if that is the direction you go, because the question then becomes, well, what do you do with Cody Rhodes, who has been trying to finish the story? And this seemed like the most logical destination after what happened at WrestleMania 39. A lot of people thought Cody was going to win the match a year ago. You've set everything over the past year seemingly in the direction to get back to this match for the rematch at WrestleMania 40. If The Rock is in the picture, Cody Rhodes is not, you don't get Cody finishing the story. You don't get the rematch. And then it opens up a lot of questions surrounding what do you do with Cody after essentially building him up for the past year to get this huge moment and this huge rematch with Roman Reigns. Where again, if they are doing the rematch, let's call it what it is. Cody's going to win if they're doing the match at WrestleMania 40, which takes us to option number 2 of what do you do with The Rock? Let's say that Cody versus Roman is still on the table for WrestleMania 40. Let's say that that's still the match. Well, you wouldn't do the Rock tease unless you're going to do a match between The Rock and Roman Reigns. And that, of course, is where people are wondering, could they do this match at Elimination Chamber? Could you do Roman Reigns versus The Rock at Elimination Chamber? WWE has been trying to make every PLE, premium live event, feel special. All of them trying to feel like a big deal. And you're going to Australia. We know kind of the financial aspect of what WWE is getting financially to host these pay-per-views in different places. We've already seen it in Puerto Rico. We're going to see it in Australia. We've seen other places as well. Maybe there's enough money on the table there to where you do the match for the head of the table between The Rock and Roman Reigns, knowing that in terms of quality of the match, you're going to get a much better match between Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes than you probably are between Roman Reigns and The Rock at this stage of his career. His first match back in many, many years. And so maybe that's the other option. Personally, I don't think that's the option. I think if you're going to do The Rock and Roman Reigns from a business perspective, unless, again, the financial aspect that we don't know the details of, how much they're getting paid to go do this event in Australia, Elimination Chamber, you're doing the match on the biggest stage, and the biggest stage is WrestleMania. And if you want the most eyeballs short term, you're going to put The Rock and Roman Reigns on the WrestleMania card because that is your biggest audience of the year. Each year it is, and it just seems like the most logical choice. But maybe this second option is something that they look at and say, this is, you want to talk about making every event feel like must see. If you do The Rock and Roman Reigns on Elimination Chamber, then you've maybe set up Elimination Chamber for life there, because it's going to feel like a huge event moving forward, even if you don't get The Rock on every year. They've at least made it clear that we are willing to do the biggest matches that we have on not secondary pay-per-views anymore, PLEs, excuse me. Perhaps that's what they want to do. I'm just telling you, I don't think that's what they will do. I think if you're going to do Roman Reigns and The Rock this many years in the making, you're going to do it WrestleMania. Which leads to the third option. There's a way to still do Roman Reigns versus The Rock at WrestleMania and still do Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. Now, how do we get there, right? Well, as we know, WrestleMania is now a 2-night event, and there is the option on the table that if you would like to do both. Now, some people will not like this. Some people will think that maybe it takes away, from Cody winning it, but you could theoretically do The Rock versus Roman Reigns as your night one main event at WrestleMania. You could do Roman Reigns winning the match, which, let me just tell you, if Roman Reigns faces The Rock, it does not matter in any scenario that you have, whether it's WrestleMania, Elimination Chamber, no matter when this match happens, Roman Reigns is beating The Rock. You could do that match on night one of WrestleMania 40. And then you could turn around on night 2 and do Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes for the championship. Cody finishes the story. Reigns goes over The Rock. Everybody comes out of it getting exactly what they wanted going into it. The Rock puts over Roman Reigns. Reigns gets the huge kind of defining win. Then Cody gets his huge defining win the next night. Now, again, there are going to be some people that would probably not love that idea, because essentially you can keep Roman strong by saying, well, he beat The Rock on night 1. Then he had to turn around and wrestle Cody on night 2. Somewhat unfair to the heel here, having to wrestle back-to-back nights. And maybe that clouds Cody's win a little bit, but knowing that the Reigns would have a match the night before, although maybe the night before, I don't know how competitive a match you're going to have between The Rock and Roman Reigns. I'm just saying. I don't think the worst idea in the world is to have Roman Reigns essentially maybe, Rock hits some early offense with a rock bottom and all this other stuff, and then Reigns just dominates from there. Because Reigns is the man who has been the dominant champion for years now. The Rock's not wrestled a match in many years. In no way should this be a competitive match. Now, you could also say, well, yeah, the Steve Austin, Kevin Owens thing, where Austin had a great match with Owens. Austin hadn't wrestled in a long time. But I think this is just a different scenario here. So that is, again, the other option, though. You could do both matches at WrestleMania, do one on night 1, which the order would be very obvious. You would do Roman versus Rock on night 1. You do Roman versus Cody on night 2. Business perspective, everybody wins. But then, there is also the question of, okay, well, you just brought back CM Punk. And I think a lot of people were expecting CM Punk versus Seth Rollins to main event night 1 of WrestleMania this year, which if all, we were going on everything before day 1 Raw, it seemed pretty set, right? You would have CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, and you would have Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, night 1, night 2. Boom. You accomplish everything there. But The Rock's return has now made things a lot more interesting. But like I said, you do have options here as to where you go next with this whole entire situation. And it should be, again, clearer than ever. The Rock does not come back and mention those 4 words unless they are almost 100% sure that they are doing this match. It just would make no sense, right? He could have come out and cut the promo on Jinder Mahal, not ever mentioned head of the table, and everybody would have still been pretty happy. It's because The Rock returning. But now that, again, everything was put in place to leave you hanging at the end, knowing that those 4 words are mentioned. And now it puts The Rock right there on Roman Reigns' radar, which had Reigns responding on Twitter, X, with the emoji, just kind of laughing. So now this thing starts from here. It's a very interesting dilemma for WWE in deciding which route they go. Someone else brought up on Twitter, short-term business-wise, I think it makes way too much sense to not do Roman Reigns and The Rock. Long-term business-wise, Cody finishing the story, everything you built up over the past year, that makes a lot of sense too. Because let's not get ourselves, Cody's moving merch. Like, we've seen all the numbers. Like, Cody is your top merchandise guy in WWE. And so I almost think it's a situation where you really can't go wrong here if you're WWE. No matter what option you decide, whether it's option one, two, three, we just mentioned all three of them. But it sets up for a very interesting dynamic here to see what happens, which decision they make, and where do things go from here with The Rock officially making his WWE return at Day One Raw to start the road to WrestleMania. If they started months ago, Survivor Series or whatever, this was the official start for the road to WrestleMania with the return of the former champion, The Rock. So appreciate you guys watching. Again, we're kind of just getting this channel started, so greatly appreciate you hitting the subscribe button, hitting the like button as well. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think WWE should do with The Rock, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes? How should it play out? Who should get the match win? Where? How? Let me know what you think in the comments. I really appreciate you guys watching, and we'll have more pro wrestling reaction and thoughts here on the Wrestling Reaction YouTube channel.